huge deal, right?
So you feeling that?
I mean, what am I missing?
Okay, let's do some math.
Okay.
If you signed me to a record company,
right,
or a record deal, let's suppose you have a record company.
A lot of people have been curious about whether there was a deeper connection between Prince and Diddy, especially in light of the revelations Prince made about the music industry. Well, it turns out that there may have been some peculiar links. First, Diddy had a long-standing deal with Warner Brothers, the same record label that Prince clashed with for years. Warner was notorious for exploiting artists, making money off their work while cutting them out of the profits, and Diddy allegedly followed the same playbook. For Prince, who had spent much of his career battling for artists' rights, this was a bitter irony. Second, there's the matter of Prince's generosity with his home. He reportedly allowed Diddy to use his house for extravagant parties. Strangely, Prince himself never attended these gatherings. Why? He allegedly harbored suspicions about what was really going on at those events. Whatever he suspected, he stayed away. Then there's the lawsuit involving Prince's estate and Jay-Z. Jay-Z, who was once close to Diddy, was accused of illegally distributing Prince's music on Tidal. This lawsuit added another layer of tension between Prince and the music industry's most powerful figures. It also fueled speculation about the risks Prince faced for daring to challenge these titans of the industry. Throughout his career, Prince fought fiercely for the rights and dignity of artists. He believed musicians should control their work, reap the rewards of their creativity, and be free from exploitative contracts. It was a battle he never stopped waging. Yet, some fans believe that his fight against the music industry's entrenched powers may have ultimately cost him his life. Prince's sudden death sparked countless conspiracy theories, with some pointing fingers at Warner Brothers, although no definitive evidence has surfaced. Still, the questions remain. To understand why Prince was such a threat to these companies, it's important to look at his early career. He signed with Warner Music in 1977 at just 18 years old. At first, his albums didn't make much of a splash, but Warner saw him as an artist worth investing in long term. By 1982, Prince was riding the wave of a new cultural era, one ushered in by the launch of MTV. With his keen grasp of the music video's power to shape public perception, Prince became a trailblazer. He didn't just create music, he built a larger-than-life persona that fans could see, hear, and idolize. Prince's innovative approach to music and visuals cemented his status as one of the most influential artists of his generation. But his relentless push for creative control and fair treatment for all artists meant he was always swimming against the tide. His legacy isn't just the unforgettable songs and groundbreaking performances, it's the enduring message that artists deserve to own their work, control their careers, and reap the fruits of their labor. And that message, scandalous as it might have seemed to industry insiders, still resonates today. As Prince's career skyrocketed, his image became iconic, and by 1984, with the release of Purple Rain, he wasn't just a popular musician, he was a phenomenon. Fans emulated his style, his sound, and his attitude. He was, without question, the most electrifying pop star on the planet. With this incredible momentum, Prince leveraged his success to create his own label, Paisley Park Records. Although Warner Brothers partially funded the label and handled its distribution, Prince quickly realized the relationship wasn't as empowering as he'd hoped. Despite his growing stature as an artist, Prince felt he was receiving far less than what he deserved from the arrangement. Naturally, he began to fight for his rights. At first, he likely assumed that a straightforward conversation with Warner Brothers would resolve the issue, but it soon became clear that the label wasn't interested in simply letting him go. Warner Brothers dug in their heels, classic record label behavior, and frustrated his every attempt to secure what he believed was fair. Tensions reached a boiling point during the lead-up to the Gold Experience. Prince and Warner were at each other's throats over both finances and control of his music. Frustrated and fed up, Prince decided to make his grievances known to the world. In a bold and unmissable statement, he appeared with the word "slave" scrawled on the side of his face. This wasn't just a visual stunt. It was his way of declaring that Warner Brothers had made him a prisoner to his own work. According to the terms of his contract, they owned his name, as well as any music he released under that name. Determined to reclaim his identity and autonomy, Prince took an extraordinary step. He changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol. The world began referring to him as the artist formerly known as Prince, and his symbolic name change became a powerful act of defiance. For a while, the battle with Warner only grew more acrimonious. In a 1999 interview with Paper magazine, Prince opened up about the struggle. saying he'd asked Warner to sell him back his master recordings. When they refused, he vowed to re-record every one of his old songs. His goal was to offer fans two nearly identical catalogs, one owned by Warner and one owned by Prince's own new power generation. "You choose," he said, putting the power in his fans' hands. Prince didn't stop there. He spoke out in countless interviews, award shows, and public appearances about how record labels exploited artists. His activism wasn't limited to his contract battles either. In 2007, he took a stand against online piracy and unauthorized use of his music, announcing legal action against platforms like YouTube, eBay, and the Pirate Bay. This was a bold move, demonstrating how serious he was about controlling his art in every arena, including the internet. Eventually, Prince did regain ownership of his name, and he worked out a new arrangement with Warner Brothers. But this victory was bittersweet. Not long after reaching this milestone, Prince's life was tragically cut short. His death shocked the world. The official story was that Prince died at age 57, found unresponsive in an elevator at his Minnesota estate. Health officials concluded that he had accidentally overdosed on counterfeit Vicodin laced with fentanyl. For many fans, the explanation felt unbelievable. Prince was known for his healthy lifestyle, and the idea that he succumbed to a painkiller overdose left a cloud of suspicion hanging over his passing. Even the elevator where he was found, something he had once referred to metaphorically as the devil, added an eerie and unsettling element to the tragedy. To this day, Prince's death remains a source of speculation and sadness. What's undeniable, though, is his legacy, the uncompromising stance he took against exploitation, his unyielding dedication to creative freedom, and his tireless fight to ensure that artists could own and control their own work. His story remains a poignant reminder of how even the most gifted and determined artists must sometimes pay a steep price for their independence. There were troubling reports that Prince's health had been deteriorating in the weeks before his death. Some sources even claim he experienced an overdose earlier that month. He had reportedly been canceling shows, and during one return trip home, his plane made an emergency landing so he could receive a dose of anti-opiate treatment. Yet, despite these alarming events, it's puzzling why Prince wasn't under consistent medical care afterward. If he truly had overdosed and was known to be in such fragile health, why wasn't a physician monitoring his condition closely? It's particularly strange when considering the demands of his performance schedule. A professional artist at Prince's level is generally expected to be well enough to meet the rigorous requirements of a touring schedule. Venues don't want surprises or cancellations at the last minute. The lack of a clear medical protocol after such a serious health scare raises questions. There's also the eerie sense that Prince himself felt something ominous was on the horizon. Shortly before his death, he posted an enigmatic image of himself, along with a cryptic, soon-deleted message. Just when you thought you were safe, even more chillingly, at one of his final appearances, a party at Paisley Park days before his death, he reportedly told those in attendance, "Wait a few days before you waste any prayers." Such statements have led fans and observers to speculate that Prince might have known his time was running out. Many people, including well-known figures like Kanye West, have drawn comparisons between Prince's fate and the struggles of other artists who dared to challenge the system. Kanye himself has often been described as a modern-day Prince in his battle for artistic control and independence. Some have imagined that if the young Prince of the late 70s and early 80s existed in today's social media-driven era, he might be viewed much like Kanye, a polarizing figure, fiercely devoted to creative autonomy and unafraid to take on the industry's biggest power players. Even record executive L.A. Reid once commented on the parallels. Speaking to Access Hollywood, he praised Kanye's artistry, noting that while he isn't a multi-instrumentalist or a live performance virtuoso like Prince, Kanye's impact on hip-hop and culture is monumental. "Kanye is great. He's a king of hip-hop," Reid remarked, suggesting that while the two artists came from different worlds, they shared a similar rebellious spirit. Where does Diddy fit into all of this? The deal Diddy inked with Warner Music Group is a stark reminder of the struggles Prince faced throughout his career. Warner's joint venture with Diddy gave them a 50% stake in Bad Boy Records, allowing the company to handle worldwide distribution of Bad Boy's music catalog and roster of artists, past and present. Diddy was candid about the significance of this partnership, calling it a strategic move to ensure financial stability and long-term influence in the music business. It's the kind of corporate maneuver that stands in stark contrast to what Prince had spent his entire life resisting. And yet, as fans reflect on the career trajectories of former bad boy artists, the questions arise. Who truly benefited from those deals? Did these artists enjoy the creative and financial freedom that Prince had always fought for? The legacy of Prince's crusade for artistic ownership serves as a sobering lens through which to view the inner workings of the music industry then and now. Over the years, Diddy's treatment of his artists has been a widely discussed and controversial topic. Critics claim that he exploited his roster, profiting heavily before eventually giving back what had already been drained of value. Allegedly, this was one of the major issues Prince had with Diddy's approach. The timing was particularly suspicious. Right before Diddy faced his first lawsuit, he started returning publishing rights to his former artists. While that might have seemed like a positive gesture on the surface, those who received the rights back felt that they were no longer worth anything. Diddy had already milked every drop of profitability from them. Prince, meanwhile, had long kept his distance from Diddy's world. Reports suggest he was keenly aware of what was going on behind closed doors. There were whispers about the infamous parties Diddy hosted, some of which took place at Prince's own house. But even though Prince lent his home, he was notably absent from the events themselves. Jason Lee, a media personality, recounted that the first Diddy party he attended was at Prince's estate. He found it strange that guests were prohibited from bringing their own security, a rule that fueled speculation about the party's exclusivity and the secrecy surrounding them. Perhaps after one such event, Prince saw enough to cut ties altogether. The story doesn't end there. Prince also once placed trust in Jay-Z, hoping he was someone who genuinely cared about artists' interests. This led to a deal with Tidal, Jay-Z's streaming service, which was tied to Roc Nation. At first, the partnership seemed promising. Tidal was supposed to have a 90-day exclusive license to release Prince's album Hit and Run. But in 2016, after Prince's death, things took a contentious turn. The estate overseeing Prince's work filed a copyright lawsuit against Roc Nation and Tidal, alleging that the service had uploaded 15 Prince albums without proper authorization. Roc Nation claimed they had both written and oral agreements to stream the albums, yet the estate, NPG Records, asserted that the documentation was fabricated and backdated. NPG stated that while there was an agreement to stream Hit and Run, there was no legitimate deal to release those additional albums. Requests for proof of such agreements went unanswered. The whole ordeal highlighted how even Jay-Z's business dealings were not immune to controversy. For some observers, this served as further proof that Jay-Z and Diddy were two sides of the same coin, powerful figures willing to bend the rules to maintain control and increase their influence. Prince, who spent his career fighting against industry exploitation, had repeatedly warned about the machine, the interconnected network of record labels, executives, and moguls who profit at the expense of the artists themselves. He was not just cautioning against faceless corporations, but also against individuals like Diddy and Jay-Z. For Prince, protecting artistic integrity and ensuring that artists retained control over their own creations was a mission that defined much of his life. However, many believe that this relentless fight for justice put him in harm's way. Some even suggest it contributed to his untimely death. Looking back, Prince's battles with the music industry remain a stark reminder of the power dynamics that artists face. His warnings about those who run the show, from record executives to music moguls, continue to resonate. And while we may never know the full story, one thing is clear. Prince's legacy is not just in his music, but in his unwavering commitment to exposing the truth and advocating for artists' rights.